Canadians may be known around the world for their love of hockey, beavers, and maple syrup. What many people might not know is that Canada is home to some allegedly haunted spots. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 Canadian mysteries. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, Alberta. Just 1.5 hours away from downtown Calgary, you'll find a towering hotel. This impressive structure, designed in the likeness of a Scottish castle, stands proudly in the middle of Banff National Park. With mountains as a backdrop, it's quickly apparent why the hotel has been nicknamed the Castle in the Rockies. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel was built in 1888 by William Cornelius Van Horn, the general manager of the Canadian Pacific Railway. Mr. Van Horn recognised the tourist potential of a luxury hotel located along the CPR route and was rewarded for this idea. The hotel was a huge success. It survived the Great Depression and the Cold War, although it did temporarily close from 1942 to 1945. It was visited by celebrities and royalties alike. Its guest list included people such as Queen Elizabeth II, Helen Keller, and Marilyn Monroe. The Canadian government has since declared the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel a National Historic Site. The hotel is also listed as a World Heritage Site by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. What the Canadian government may not tell you is that there are dark and frightening rumours that the hotel is actually haunted. First, there's the story of Sam Macaulay, a Scottish bellhop who loved his job so much he promised everyone he would return to his post, even after death. Obviously, nobody believed Mr. Macaulay. After he died in 1975, guests who had never met Mr. Macaulay began to share stories of a friendly bellhop named Sam. Allegedly, Sam spoke with a Scottish accent. In addition, these guests reported that Sam had helped them with small things, such as getting into their rooms when they lost their keys, and helping them navigate around the massive hotel. However, when guests attempted to thank or tip Sam, he simply vanished. These guests would later learn that no one by that name still worked for the hotel. Next, there's the tale of the Ghost Bride. At some point in the 1930s, a young couple decided to hold their wedding banquet in the hotel's ballroom. Shortly after the ceremony, the groom was separated from his bride. When she went to find him, she attempted to climb the marble steps to the ballroom. There was a misstep and the bride fell, breaking her neck on the marble steps. Years later, guests have reported noticing the shape of a bride, dress, and veil. This bride has been seen floating up various stairs and wandering aimlessly around the hotel's ballroom. These first 2 instances relate to ghosts that wander around the main hallways of the hotel, but these last 2 will make you think twice about ever booking 2 specific rooms at the hotel. Room 692 isn't booked very often. Guests that are brave enough to stay there report feeling an icy coldness, especially when they try to go to sleep. These guests tell stories of being awoken in the middle of the night to find the pillows upon which they were sleeping shaking violently and uncontrollably. The stories have gotten so bad that staff have now refused to let women book the room if they're travelling alone. Last but not least is the most frightening story of them all. It involves the room 873. You won't find room 873 if you go to the hotel today. The door has since been removed and all the holes have been sealed off, and it's covered in wallpaper. All that remains is a small light in the ceiling, marking where an entrance once was. It's alleged that years ago, an entire family died within the room. The father turned on his wife and daughter and slaughtered them there. After killing both of them, he killed himself. As the rumour goes, hotel staff cleaned the room and the hotel continued to let it out to tourists and other guests, but this quickly changed. Guest after guest complained of blood-curdling shrieks waking them in the middle of the night. Not only that, but when guests hurriedly turned on the light, they were dismayed to find bloody handprints left on bathroom mirrors and walls. Sometimes these prints vanished before cleaning staff could arrive. Other times, cleaning staff would scrub at the bloody stains for hours and still be unable to remove them. As the room has now been sealed off, hotel staff are trained to deny all the paranormal legends that taint the hotel's history, especially what occurred in room 873. But guests hold firm, they know what they saw. Peggy Cove's Lighthouse. In the mornings and afternoons, Peggy Cove's lighthouse looks like a tranquil, idyllic haven. Perched on an extensive granite outcrop, the lighthouse is a pretty sight against the ocean. You'll find a quaint fishing village in the surrounding area. These days, Peggy's Cove Lighthouse is known as one of the most photographed structures in Atlantic Canada and one of the most recognisable lighthouses in the world. Although beautiful, it's instantly obvious why this spot has a dangerous reputation. The granite rocks near the edge are close to the ocean, and occasionally waves will unexpectedly and violently crash up upon it. There are signs littered all around the rocks: danger, sudden high waves, drowning hazard, keep off the black rocks. Residents of Peggy's Cove will tell you that oftentimes tourists don't listen. These warnings just don't seem to deter them. Every day, tourists arrive by bus and car. They climb over the rocks and dip their toes in the water. They tiptoe along the edge, unaware that many have gone before them, only to be snatched by the waves, never to be seen again. Some say that one family's slippery death is how Peggy's Cove Lighthouse got its name, although others will tell you it's because Peggy's Cove is located at the entrance of St. Margaret's Bay. There are rumours that Peggy was actually a young woman that survived a shipwreck. The boat crashed on one of the rocks at the base of the lighthouse in 1800. According to the legend, Peggy's entire family died in the shipwreck. Everyone, that is, but her husband. For a few years, Peggy lived with her husband and mourned the death of her children. One day, she was particularly sorrowful, and her husband attempted to cheer her up. He stood before her and began to sing and dance, but unfortunately, that day in particular, the rocks were glistening and wet, and Peggy's husband slipped and fell. His head hit the granite and he died instantly. No one saw what happened next. Residents of Peggy's Cove saw Peggy watching her husband dance, and the next minute there was a dead man on the rocks and Peggy was gone. Locals believed Peggy took her own life subsequent to her husband's death and jumped into the sea. To this day, locals and tourists alike have claimed spotting a lady in blue sitting by the edge of the rock as if to consider whether she should jump. Her dress blows in the breeze, but she never turns around. When the onlooker attempts to help, she disappears. The St. Louis Ghost Train. It's believed that one night, at some point in the 1920s, a Canadian National Railway conductor was walking along the railway inspecting the track. The conductor was alone and it was a peaceful night. Something glinted in the tracks and it caught the conductor's attention. He bent to investigate just as a sharp whistle pierced the air. The CNR train hurtled down the track and the conductor was decapitated instantly. The story's been passed down through the years among the residents of this small village. Although the track has long since been removed, grass and trees have grown where the train used to pass, south of Prince Albert and north of St. Louis. Residents will tell anyone willing to listen that the legend is true. One resident in particular is completely adamant. He's seen a light that many others have also seen, that looks like an oncoming train, shining in the middle of the forest where the track used to be. It floats in the night, and other residents have speculated that, rather than the ghost of an oncoming train, it could be the ghost of the conductor searching for his head with a lantern. The legend is so persuasive, Canada Post, the primary postal operator in Canada, issued a stamp depicting this St. Louis ghost train in 2014. Recently, 2 grade 12 students from a local area attempted to debunk this myth. Both students were skeptical of paranormal activity and wanted to demonstrate that the light people saw was merely a result of distant cars. Although the 2 girls received gold medals at their local science fair for duplicating the phenomenon using the diffraction of vehicle lights, residents still insist that the ghosts are real. Why, you might ask? Well, because the lights of the ghost train or ghost conductor that have been reported existed long before the invention of cars. So what do you make of these specifically Canadian mysteries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.